2, and 1. Hello, and welcome to a special live edition of Alien Investigations. As always, I'm your host, Steven, and we've got something very different in store for you. As those of you, my regular dedicated viewers have grown accustomed to seeing me and my gracious guests square off in a game of X-Files CCG. That's not why we're here today. But before we get into why we're here doing this broadcast, let's first meet the three distinguished gentlemen here with me. Joining me from coastal Oregon, there's a little X-Files reference in there, one of the key figures in the X-Files CCG's revival movement and co-host of the premier YouTube channel dedicated to said game, Mr. Michael Perrine.
Hello. Welcome.
Thank you for being here with us, Mike. Next, from Washington State, the host of the up-and-coming channel Studio Squim and co-founder of our creative team, behind the upcoming fan-made expansions of the X-Files CCG, Mr. David Peace.
You're too kind. Thank you very much for having me.
And David and I just played a game late last night. It was quite a riveting game of X-Files CCGs. And so I'm especially grateful that you're availing yourself to me, not just on Saturday, but on Sunday to moderate this episode alongside me. So thank you so much, David.
I was hoping you weren't going to bring up that game. That was not my best performance.
That's all right. You still played it well, and you still played it as a gracious guest like you always do. So again, thanks so much for giving me a little bit more of your weekend. I really appreciate it. And I was just about to introduce the last gentleman in our.
Was that a mic drop? Is that what that was? He's like he's about to introduce me. I'm out.
He's like, I'm done.
All he needed to do is peace.
He's like, I don't have to do this. I don't have to do this intro. He's like, he's coming back. Our collector is back. So,
sorry about that.
Yeah, just about to get to the last person who's here with us today. And gosh, certainly last but not least, joining us from across the pond, the founder of the Facebook group, the X-Files Collectible Card Game, and the man whose talent for reconstructing the templates of the X-Files CCG cards has made it possible for us to have an expanded universe for these cards. And really, it's the man for whom the four of us wouldn't be sitting here at this moment about to unveil what we're about to unveil. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Dax Golding, thank you for joining us, Dax. And all around, gentlemen, I want you to extend your sincerest thanks to your respective spouses for giving me an hour of your Sundays. So thank them all for me, please. Really appreciate it. Yeah, Madam Governors, all three of you, please let them know I'm grateful. So, why we're here today. So we are going to be looking at the first. I don't have the camera up, but I will pull it up shortly. We're going to be looking at the Unofficial 040460 expansion that I, along with Dax and David and several other members of our creative team, have been working on for the past year, playtesting and refining these cards. This 175 card expansion that started off like over a year ago of just being an idea that I had, and then especially with the help of Dax, who was able to put these ideas into card form and has made it possible for that we can have printed cards available to include in our future games. So what I have in front of me that I'm going to be opening just in a moment is the first complete set of the Unofficial Season 4 expansion. So it's a big moment, and I'm grateful for all you guys being here to join me in this first of hopefully many expansions to come. So,
not too many, please. Not too many.
Well, Dax, actually, there's been a surprising amount of interest amongst the members of our Facebook group who are interested in getting a set of these cards. Isn't that right?
Yeah, there has. But yeah, it just takes so bloody long.
It certainly has. We had a lot to do. There was a lot of with the playtesting, especially. There was a lot of times where I'm going back to Dax and telling him, "Oh, we had to change this up. We had to change that, that up in order for the cards to be more mechanically sound." There was a lot of like little kinks we had to work out along the way, but we finally got there. We finally got to the end of it, huh?
Yay!
Yep. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in my camera so you guys can actually see the box that I'm referring to. It is the let me just pull it up to the front here. I should know this by now. All right, excellent. So here we are. As you can see, I haven't yet to pull it out of the shipping package that it came all the way from China. Isn't that right, Dax?
I believe so.
Be careful, man.
So yeah, while I'm opening this, I'm gonna let David, my co-moderator for this, throw some questions out at Dax, at Mike, and myself. Any questions regarding the expansion. And so, while I'm busy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, you should remove the logo. It's right over David's face.
No, I'm an Oregon Ducks fan.
He looks like a duck.
How do I remove from? How do I remove the logo?
It's under brand.
Brand.
And then it's like it says logo. Yeah, and just remove it. Just click it again, and it gets rid of it. And go Ducks too, by the way.
Go Ducks. Yeah. Oregon State.
Let me see here. I see. All right. So it says, do I click the? Sorry, I'm scrolling down through the options. Where is that?
Oh, 1 second. I'll tell you. I'll just open up mine really quick. So it's under brand and then logo.
Yeah, I see that. It has the duck.
Yeah, so click the duck again.
Oh, and just unclick it basically?
Yeah. If you click it again, it should get rid of it.
I think that's only for the people who pay.
Oh!
Yeah, it's for...
yeah, it's asking me to upgrade.
But
okay. David, if you scoot over, scoot. There you go. So you're more or less in the break. Sorry about that.
My pal, the duck.
Why don't you put me up there, because I have way more room.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Or can it be flipped so the large screen is on the right?
Let me see if is there a way to do that?
This is fine.
Let me see here. I don't know. I should have tested this out beforehand, but it's just automatically moving you guys over to that side. So
all the more reason for a GoFundMe page for Steven to get a premium account.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But all right, thank you so much, Mike, for taking one for the team right there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open this box here. I already made a point of opening or slitting the tape, so I wasn't struggling to open it on camera. And so here we are.
There it is. Look at that back too. Now, that's an original design? Is that correct?
Yes, this was 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 actually was the one who came up with the idea for doing this face card for the expansion, which is it's a really cool looking image that showcases that this is from the season primarily from the season 4 expansion. It's really cool design that I passed along to Dax, and so he was able to create that same design and get that one included in the set. Thanks so much for that, Dax.
No, while you're I'm sorry, Dax, I talked over you there.
Carry on.
Okay, well, while he gets that off and we start looking at things now, Dax, we can trace back like the modern roots of this to you being an autograph collector with all of your albums back there, and that inspired you to start making custom cards so you could get autographs from the actors.
Pretty much. Because I started collecting autographs and stuff around sort of 95, and when I got the CCGs, I thought, well, this would be quite cool to get those signed. And then you found that I was going to a lot of conventions, and there were a lot of actors who didn't have their own card. So just for fun, I just used to make these, and you know, just for my own pleasure. And it was always interesting when you went to a convention and you showed them something different, and people were like, well, wow, you know, where did you get this? How do I get this? And you know, it just kind of went from there, really. And you know, when I set the group up, I mean, it was just really an excuse to show off the signed cards. That was my intention. I had no idea 2.5 years later we'd be sitting here doing this with a whole new, you know, expansion and Lord knows what else.
Now, what is the software you use? A big professional setup with Macintosh and thousands of dollars of software, or what is it that you use to create this?
I wish I could say that, but no, it's just Microsoft. No, not Microsoft. It's Photoshop Elements, and it's not even a recent version, but it all works. Everything's set up, and I spent a lot of time trying to get it as close to how the original cards look.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. You've been putting your custom cards up and your dream cards, which we've used in a couple of matchups, just impeccable as far as detail, the fonts, the color matching, all that kind of stuff. So really great work. And Steven's holding these up to the camera as he goes through. You can see really indistinguishable from the originals.
Thank you.
With the exception of the back, which we're doing for a copyright respect.
Yeah, I think there aren't very many places that have a really user-friendly interface for uploading your images and setting up your custom cards. And so we use MCP. I think it's not a secret. They're pretty much the only game in town. But what they won't do is print stuff with the X-Files written on it. They seem to have less concern about you know, how the images look on the front of the cards, but they won't print the card on the back. That's their call. You know, it's not unique to our fandom. I understand Star Wars and Star Trek fans and collectors have had the same issue, that they won't print these. But you know, a lot of the imagery now is kind of in the public domain, and fair use policy is a bit of a catch-all for using the images. And I think as long as you're not looking to profit from it, I don't think they've got a massive issue, which is why we're looking at putting these into the hands of collectors for exactly what it costs us to get them printed and shipped. So yeah, nothing being made on it, but you know, it's just great to try and get these out into the, you know, from the virtual world into the physical.
Yeah, well, I've been involved with this since early 2022 when I first ran across Steven and the Facebook group myself. By that time, though, I was already kind of into it, and that's because of the universally or not universally adored Mike of Mike and Matt's MM X-Files CCG there. I've told this story before, and I'll keep it quick because no one wants to hear my story. We want to hear about these cards. But I ran into a different site that was doing throwback games, and the X-Files was one of them. And I remembered the game. I was a big fan of the show. For the first few seasons, I'm a little rusty on my trivia, but I watched that, and I remembered getting a deck, but not really being into CCGs at the time. It was still kind of a new thing for me. And but during the quarantine, I ran across that game that particular show, and I was like, I wonder if there's more. Did a search, and Mike and Matt's X-Files CCG came up. Great channel. And the next thing you know, I'm writing checks and hitting eBay and and
Sorry.
yeah, well, tell that to my wife, right? It's like, what the hell are all these checks about? But yeah, now I've got a great collection. I'm back into the game. I'm loving it. I've made some great new friends, and that's thanks to you, Mike and Matt. I really appreciate that. Bringing the game back. I was talking earlier before we went live that I consider Mike and Matt to be like the godfathers of the modern revival. He was very humble and didn't want to take that moniker, but I'll tell you what, the game is making a big comeback, not only because of these fan-made cards, but now involvement with X-Files conventions, tournaments, that kind of thing. The game is really making a comeback, and these fan-made cards are really going to plant a seed to bring more flavor, more mechanics, more interesting stuff to the game. So thank you very much for that, and to Dax, of course. I can't say your name often enough for putting these together.
Well, yeah, it's been a fun ride. Tell me, Michael, why did you decide to set your channel up in the first place?
That is a great question.
Yeah, so obviously Matt and I have been playing back since when this was first released. We were part of the original contest. It was something that was always like fun for us to do. And then when we moved back over to Oregon, or I moved here first, and then Matt followed me a few years later, and we just kind of picked back up again, and we've been playing for a little while. I've got some pictures of us. I'll see if I can dig it out. Actually, it's on a phone. It was I ordered 2 of the beginner sets for Mike Mackey on eBay before I even knew the guy. And I got a picture of us like holding all these boosters and starters, like, we're doing this again. This is happening. It was so exciting. And we were playing for a while, and I kept trying to find evidence. It started out, I kept trying to find evidence of the tournament. Or not the tournament, excuse me, the contest, sorry. And like it didn't exist. Like legit. And if you go back into our original interviews we did with a couple people, we asked those specific questions and they're like, oh yeah, it was there. And that was the first confirmation that we got that it existed. But at the time it was like, I was searching the internet and I was like, there's no channel, there's no media, there's no videos about this card game. And this was so important to us. And it was just sort of that moment for me where I was like, this is an untapped market. Let's start a channel. And I'll never forget, Matt was like, am I going to have to be on camera? And I'm like, you know what? Maybe not. We'll just do an unboxing. So we unboxed a 1013. Neither of us were on camera. In fact, I don't even think I ever uploaded it.
Was that not the one where he was wearing the alien gloves?
No, that was so he could show you how to find an ultra rare.
Okay, so that came after the first episode.
This was like we had set up a camera on the table and we were opening a box of 1013, and in that video we talked about how if we ever get a real show, we're going to have Kresge on our show. He's going to be the number one person we interview, and that's very true. That we said that was number one, which is why to this day Kresge's still my favorite interview we've ever done. Sorry, David May. But yeah, and you know, you saw our first episode. It was very off the cuff. The camera was all the way up here looking down at us. The quality is crap, you know. And then it was like, wow, we like doing this. Let's kind of step it up. And you know, 2 credit cards later.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, right. But no, we've been blessed to have so many colleagues. I wouldn't call them fans, but just people that want to share this with us. It means a lot, and yeah, it's just an untapped market, something somebody wanted, and here we are a couple years later. So
I'm okay if you want to sign the term of endearment groupie to me, because that's kind of just how I felt since joining the Facebook group.
Matt did call you our groupie one time, so yeah, that fits. Yeah,
I own it. I gladly own it.
That's right. Take it back. Own it. So with that being said, and Stephen, I don't want to distract too much from you looking through the cards, but you've been working on this particular set since December of 2021, if I remember the story correctly.
That is correct. And I'll try to see if I can talk while holding these up to the image. And I do apologize if they don't, they're not actually this dark. It's just because my lighting situation here was not as well planned as I'd hoped it to be. But yeah, the cards are actually brighter than they appear on camera. So yeah, December 2021, my wife and daughter had gone to New Mexico for vacation. And I stayed home because we had some cats to look after. So I, at that point, because I had Dax create a few custom cards for me, not part of this set, just more personalized ones, where the very first one I had him do was an agent card for my daughter. And then a little bit later, he did an agent card for myself. And then, sorry to interrupt, we have a question, are the fonts easily readable? Now, for me, I mean, I'm just south of 40, but I don't have a hard time reading the cards, not yet. But yeah, no, the fonts are the fonts are just to the same size spectrum as the commercial release cards. Do you want to speak to that, Dax?
Nothing much to add, really, is there? Yes, they are. They're exactly the same, and the all the images are as they are on the Facebook group, and they print up pretty well. They're pretty clear. I mean, I can't read any of it without my glasses, but then I can't read any of the regular cards without my glasses either. Yeah, I think they're pretty good. I mean, it's a shame that you can't quite see it through the lens, but yeah, I think they're pretty clear.
Well, I wish I had got it on video, and I know I've told this before, so forgive me if I'm being redundant. But when Matt and I originally met up with Brian Woodward in Spokane a couple years back, we had breakfast, looked at some cool stuff, went out to his car, and he was sort of loading us up with just like, here, take this, take this, take this. And we're like, okay, cool. We got some of this, and this is a custom card Dax made. And he literally looked at it and he's like, are you seriously? He made this? Like, it was so spot on that Brian Woodward himself was amazed at how accurate it was. And if that doesn't tell you how accurate the cards are, nothing will.
Was that the unexplainable time loss cards?
That was one. Yeah, that was one. Yeah, the original ones that you made for Matt and I. Yeah.
Very cool card. So yes, getting back to David's question. So yes, while my wife and daughter were on vacation in New Mexico, I had a couple weeks to just think about a kernel of an idea that I had cooking in my head about. Well, he's done a few really awesome personal custom cards for me. What about doing some cards that were specific to some of the episodes I liked? And then from that, the idea I came up with was, well, the cards, as we all know, are halted at the third season with the 1013 expansion, and then with the unreleased 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 expansion. So we didn't really get to see a whole lot of cards beyond that season, outside of a couple of promo cards that Mike Mackey had put together during his time at Voyager Promotions, right, Mike?
Yep.
And so I thought, well, the fourth season of the X-Files is actually one of my favorites. The third season is undoubtedly the best of the bunch. But I do like a lot of the episodes that came out of the show's fourth season, most notably the episode Home, and of course the Memento Mori episode in which Scully is first diagnosed with cancer. And of course the Tunguska Termina two-parter. There were a lot of gems in that fourth season that unfortunately never made it to card form. So because the game went belly up in 97, which was right around the time that the later half of the show's fourth season was going on, and they were just getting into their it was right around the time that season 4 was 96 to 97, and then fifth season began in fall of 97. So anyway, we didn't get a chance to see the cards go beyond the first 3 seasons of the show. So I got the idea of, well, what if I did a expansion for seasons 4 and 5? That's how it originally began, where I was going to do an expansion for 2 seasons. But as I started writing them over the course of that holiday break, I was realizing that the more ideas that I had, just for the 4th season, I was realizing, oh gosh, I'm going to have a whole bunch of ideas before I get done just representing the episodes from season 4. So then I quickly pushed aside the ideas that I had for season 5, which is coming up in a later expansion, not too far in the future. So then I came up with well over 100 ideas for cards representing season 4, and then I had many more pouring out of me. And by the time the Christmas holiday had ended, I had written well over 100 cards, and I still had many more ideas pouring out of my head. And so I just kept writing upon it, and then I found myself I had 125, 150, and I thought I was going to wind up stopping there. But then around that time, I was starting to post some of the cards in the Facebook group, the agent cards that you saw earlier, and I'll circle back and hold those up to the camera as well. So as I was starting to post the cards on the Facebook group, the first few that Dax had done for me, then I was starting to get interest. I had people like David and Nathan reaching out to me to help me with refining the cards and play testing them so that they were mechanically sound for those who had an interest in actually acquiring a set. And so at the same time, I was still writing more. And so I came up with about 170 cards. And then by the time our Discord group had formed, which was about, when was that, David? Was that around April?
I was going to say March or April. Yeah.
March or April, give or take. And so credit where credit is due. So while I could say 173 of the cards I had written, there's a couple in here that were actually the idea of 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, and I will get a couple of the event cards, specifically Killer. Oh no, one of them's a Killer card. Two cards from Synchrony are coming up that were actually 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬's idea. So I want to give him credit for that, because he helped me round out the set to 175 cards. And I thought, okay, that is a stopping point. I'm done. I've already got more than enough content to send to Dax at this point. So I decided to leave it at that.
And Dax is grateful for you putting a hard stop on that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. But
yeah,
really,
if you hadn't, I was going to.
Yeah, because I think I was probably a bit mum about how many cards there were going to be, because at the time when I was sending to the earlier ones to him, I was still coming up with more ideas as we went along. So I really didn't have a sense of what the number was going to be till I finally decided to put a cap on it at 175. And I think that's a pretty good amount of cards to offer a serviceable expansion with a variety of effects that are going to complement the existing cards, but also adequately represent the show's 4th season. Now, as some of you are noting, that you're seeing some of the cards in here are not all from season 4. And the reason for that is, while we do have a good representation of the first 3 seasons in all of the commercial release cards, including the unreleased 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 set, there were still a few characters and scenes and whatnot that I just thought warranted a place on the cards. And not really knowing how many of these expansions I was going to do beyond this one at that time, I decided to include a few cards that harken back to the show's 1st and 2nd season. And I think there was 1 or 2 from the 3rd season as well in here. Just so that, we kind of cover those areas as well. And also because sometimes there are some effects that I had, certain effect ideas I had in my head that I thought, well, where can I apply this to a particular episode? Because one thing I tried to do when making these cards was to make them very much a translation, a nice translation from the scene or the episode from which they're taken to the card itself. So I wanted to have that be a very faithful effect to the show. And sometimes there were some just characters or scenes from the early seasons that just matched the idea that I had. So yes, it's predominantly dedicated to the show's 4th season, as you can obviously tell. But yeah, you'll find a few cards that are going to be reminiscing some of the characters from the earlier seasons.
And that's something that struck me right away when I first started working with your cards, Stephen, was that you weren't trying to like make your own game, that these cards seamlessly integrated with the existing rules. There were new mechanics with Cancer and Gulag, but you could easily mix them in with the existing cards, and it worked perfectly. So it was very well thought out. I was very happy that I didn't have to set aside all my newly acquired X-File cards and start over again. So that was really great. Now, where are these screen grabs coming from? Is that just someone watching on their computer and hitting freeze or hitting pause and grabbing the screen? Is there a library that these are pulled from? Or
take it away, Dax. That one's for you.
No, just what you said. It's hours of trying to find the right image, grabbing it and cleaning it up, and getting the image, because I think most of the time the image that the original game uses ties in with the quote.
Mm-hmm.
So the quote, you know, I don't know. If I just pick this one up here. So that one's from Sanguinarium, and
one of your favorites.
Yeah, it's a good one. The doctor pulls his mask down and he says the quote that's on the card. So it was. I think there were probably some quite cool images that we just couldn't make work. But yeah, that was it really. Grabbing the image, cleaning it up, popping it on the card, and yeah, so lots of hours.
A lot of hours, and I can't thank you enough for all of that.
All
that time.
When you're talking about finding those screen grabs, any chance there's some secret rares or alternate images that might pop up later?
Ooh.
Oh, is that to me? I couldn't possibly comment on that.
It's to you and Stephen both.
Sorry, what was the? Sorry, you have to run that question by me again. I didn't quite catch what you were saying.
How Dax gets the screen grabs, and was wondering if there were any secret rare alternate image cards that might pop up later on as ultra collectible type things that are waiting for us.
Are you speaking about the promos?
Something like that, sure.
Okay, because yeah, as you guys know, there are a few of the commercially released cards that have images not found in the show, namely the Mulder and Scully agent cards, the event X-Files Research, even the X card is actually a promo shot not found in any of the episodes, along with No One's So Paranoid and the Lone Gunman card. But there are a couple of promotional. There are 3 promos at the tail end of this expansion that I'll get to. Promotional shots. We came up with the idea. This was actually another thing I want to credit to 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬. We were talking about doing more than just the one promo that I had in mind for this set. We thought about, well, why don't we do a couple of agent cards for Mulder and Scully as they were, as how they looked in the 4th season of the show, and keep all of the same text, same effect and all that, but just have a different image, which Dax has done already with with season 10. He has already made some really cool alternate versions of Mulder and Scully from the season 10 and season 11 revival episodes.
And a personal favorite of mine, the Skinner card too.
Yes, very much so. And thinking about that, I was like, I kind of thought, well, why didn't I should have done one for Skinner and 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 as well, as they were obviously, key figures in the 4th season as well. But yeah, didn't occur to me till later on. I was like, oh, why didn't I get those 2 represented in there? But maybe we'll double back to that.
So 175 cards. And I know that, and I see a question
This
from
is a
Greg.
very good question. Go ahead and read that for me, David.
Did you ever plan to put rarity on those cards? I know all are available in the set, but just for pointing which cards are good enough to be rare, ultra rare, and which so-so to be commons, etc. Now we talked about this in one of our discussions during play testing, which ones were our favorites and what we thought would be ultra rares. What was your thought on that, Stephen?
Well, it's coming up in just a few cards actually, because obviously these cards, writing these cards, I never obviously imagined they would get any sort of commercial release or anything like that. So the idea of assigning rarity to them was just a sort of like a hypothetical fun discussion that the four of us had engaged in. I believe it was in one of the episodes on your channel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But yeah, and Nathan and 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, and I think even you, David, weighed in on which cards you thought would be worthy of ultra rare status. Should they, should in the unlikely event or some fantasy universe in which they did get commercially released. We thought of several, and the one that I think, and most of them are events, and actually I'll just go ahead and skip to them so I can. Yep, this would be one of them.
That was the universally accepted one. Yep.
Yes, Happy Birthday is definitely one. I think all four of us can agree that this is one that would definitely be worthy of ultra rare status. And the reason is, multifaceted. One being that the card is free, and because the effect is very much unique. Happy Birthday, which is taken from the Tempus Fugit 2-part episode, allows you to play the card on one agent during the briefing phase to double the agent's res for one turn. In addition, you may requisition one equipment card to the agent at no cost. Each player may only have one of this card in their deck. And so the awesomeness of that effect in the fact that it's free, much like, say, Unexpected Call, for instance, or the Teamwork promo, which also 0, that is a pretty a cool card that certainly warrants that status. And there's one, I think I skipped it just a little bit ago, and I'll come back to that one, is...
I would definitely use that Happy Birthday card and go in and get a 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And you can only have one 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 in your deck, too, so that's kind of fitting that same stipulation applies to both of the cards. So, as some of you will obviously know from the commercial release cards, there are certain event cards that are specific to the key agents in the series: Mulder, Scully, 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, and Skinner. Scully has the Scully abducted event. Mulder has the near-death experience. Skinner has the Skinner chooses a side, and 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 has the 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 possessed event in 1013. So this card, which much like the 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 possessed card, has effect that is very specific to 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, in which a certain condition has to be met for him to gain a couple of permanent skills following that condition being met. So much in the same vein as that, this card, which showcases 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 getting his arm removed in the two-parter Tunguska Terma. So that one is one that I also felt certainly warranted ultra rare status as well. And now, aside from the events, there's one other one that I was very much certain I would assign ultra rare status to as well. So I'm going to have to skip to the events to show you guys that one. And then I'll let David, if you had any particular one in mind as well, or Dax, if you wanted to suggest one as well. The one equipment card, and you don't have too many equipment cards get ultra rare status outside of the Alien Stiletto. But this one, the Apollo 11 keychain, which again, taken from Tempus Fugit and Max, a very iconic symbol from the show, because that one had occurred a couple like one or two times after that two-parter, and we tend to associate it with the death of the beloved Agent Pendrell. And so the effect for the Apollo 11 keychain is that it adds 1 to the agent's res value, which is a pretty pretty good effect. For those that, rely on, trying to keep a steady amount of res in their conspiracy pool, in their resource pools. So this card may be attached at 0 cost if played after one of your agents has been removed from the game, much in the spirit of how Pendrell was killed in that episode at the same time that, Scully had been gifted this keychain by Mulder. And much like the previously shown Happy Birthday card, each player may only have one of this card in their deck, because that's a pretty powerful effect, being able to tack on one to an agent.
What are the keywords on that?
The keywords are just equipment and special with an activator of Bureau. So yeah,
I might be wrong on this, because it's a requirement to play based upon a killer effect. Wouldn't it have a killer keyword?
Well, no, that's just it's not a condition. Like, you can play the card.
Okay.
Without it, it just says if, though.
If. Oh, okay, gotcha.
If you have an agent removed from the game, it's free.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, if you're just going to attach to them, it's just, you pay 3 for it.
Oh, okay.
So only in that condition, that again was my attempt at being faithful to what happened in the episode, is like, well, if you happen to lose your agent, here you go. Here's a free card you can issue in that event. So yeah, and it kind of makes up for the fact, well, you lost an agent, so you likely lost a bit of res with the agent being removed from the game, unless it was like Kresge or something. But this
don't knock on my boy Kresge. Come on now.
Poor Kresge. He always gets
or Detective Manners, who also has 0 res as well. So this card could also help you to recoup that loss by allowing you to continue to gain 1 res in each of the briefing phases if you had lost that agent. So again, it was kind of a way to strike a meaningful nod to the episode and the the sobering events that took place on that particular one. So yeah, I didn't put the killer status in there because it's only like hey, if you lose an agent, just play it for free. So it's kind of conditional on that.
If it had the killer keyword, we'd never see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's valid. Yeah.
And speaking of killer cards, we do have one coming up right here. Agent Pendrell, killed in the DC pub shootout. So this, in the same spirit of the 4 premier cards that were specific to Agent LaManna, Reggie Perdue, Jack Willis, and Agent Weiss, there's a killer card specific to Agent Pendrell for the same cost, same effect, that is translated from those early premier cards as well. Now, here are the 2 cards that I want to credit to 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, because I did come up with the 173 of the card ideas. These 2 are specifically his, so I want to give him credit where credit is due. This one, Warning from the Future, which is a really cool card that you can play if you are in a situation where your opponent's he's pretty much got you in a jam. And so basically what happens is you can reset all the cards that are currently in play, get discarded, and you go right back to the case assignment phase. So it's basically a rewind, so I'll read it out for everyone. So play this card on a site with computer or sciences as a prerequisite. Immediately discard all active and conspiracy cards attached to the site, along with the site itself. The case assignment phase starts over and the turn resumes as normal. So basically, yeah, it's a redo card. If you think like, oh, I'm not going to get out of this investigation alive. So good one to play if you got a killer adversary.
It's an awesome card and a great episode. I actually just watched that episode the other day.
I want to say I used that one during play testing too, because I frequently find myself in a jam with my deck building skills. So I hats off to 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 for that one. That's a great card.
And this is from the scene of the series that probably has made me cringe more than any other moment in the show's history, was when the character Dr. Junichi spontaneously combusts internally while he's on the hospital slab after being unfrozen from the effects of the ice stiletto that the old man was wielding. So this is a killer card that allows you to play on an agent whenever a healing card is played on the agent. And and then at that point, the agent is instantly killed and removed from the game. So I thought that's a very faithful translation of what happens. Is they tried to revive 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 in that moment, but then he just wound up setting himself on fire. Yeah. So the condition being that when a healing card is placed on that agent, you can then play this card and have that agent removed from the game. So it's a very situational one. You don't see healing cards played too often, but it's a handy one to have. If should that event transpire, and then you can what would be certainly an uncivil game, which is where killer cards have their place.
And I'll tell you what, we played a killer game just a couple weeks ago, and I made sure I had that in my deck along with the Mana 2 Strikes. And there was I was waiting to see if someone would play White Buffalo or something like that. Just specifically so I could pull out the spontaneous combustion and get them when they tried to heal themselves.
This is another card I probably would have assigned ultra rare status to, because much like the Skinner chooses a side ultra rare from Premier, this one has an effect that is very much specific to Skinner from the Zero Sum episode that was dedicated to his character. So that one is amongst the cards that I would have assigned that ultra rare status to. Dave or Guillaume, I know you're watching. Are there any cards that I did not mention that you guys would argue should have a place amongst the ultra rare cards?
While Guillaume's typing, when we talked about that, I had difficulty coming up with one or two specific cards. There were entire mechanics that I really liked. So there were cards in those like subsets, the Cancer subset and the Gulag subset, that I would have done, but they weren't necessarily super great cards. Like the Shiv, I thought kind of goes along with the Alien Stiletto. So I thought that would be kind of fun to have those two be ultra rares. But I was the last to go in that particular discussion. So everybody already called Happy Birthday and the Apollo 11 keychain. I agreed with those. I think those are the two.
Yeah, definitely those two amongst any of the other ones for sure. All right. And yeah, I don't know if Guillaume's still typing his answers out, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to playing some future games with you guys once you guys are able to acquire a set of your own. So as this is obviously the first complete set, it would be great to be able to play the cards alongside you guys.
I'm going to read Guillaume's thing, and then that's going to segue into the next question.
Yes, I'm going to pull up the card he's referring to.
Yeah, Guillaume says Exterminated, Skinner's Deal with the Devil, which we just saw, Krychek Disarmed, yeah, Happy Birthday, and Apollo 11 Keychain are my choices for the 5 ultra rares. All great cards.
Yes, and Exterminated, I'll go ahead and read that one because I didn't earlier. Play this card to negate any one keyword negate card. If X is the negated card, it is removed from the game along with this card. So yes, I thought that was a very faithful nod to the season 4 opener, in which the beloved character played by Stephen Williams is assassinated, unfortunately. But Dax also came up with a version of that card as well, which I believe, did you get the actor to sign that one, Dax?
I got that one signed.
You got that one signed? Yes. Oh, very much. Let me. Yeah. Well, if I pull you up, I'll never get my screen back. So, yes, it's definitely in the Facebook group, right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
So that. Go ahead, Stephen. Finish up.
No, I was gonna say. I think the episode Home, for which this booby trap bluff I'm currently showing is from, the episode Home is undoubtedly my favorite episode of the series, hands down. And a lot of people will certainly claim that as well. So one of the main driving forces behind me wanting to do a season 4 expansion was just so I could get characters and events and whatnot from this specific episode translated to card form. So as you can see here, we have Mrs. Peacock, which is a pretty cool effect that I actually did get to use in the one of the playtest games. I think either the 10th or the 11th one was a pretty cool one. And of course, and let me just circle right back to that one too, because while I'm on the discussion of home, this was this one along with the sight card were the very first of the season 4 expansion cards that I wrote, because it was like, I'll be damned if I do a season 4 expansion and I do not have the Peacock brothers represented on there. So this is one that I was most excited to acquire from Dax, because this one is just a beautiful card all around. And the effect, I think, is hopefully you guys will agree is a faithful translation in which you apply a -1 to any equipment cards attached to the team, modify long range combat or close range combat. Now, the idea for that is, as you recall in the episode, the characters, including the doomed Sheriff Taylor, tried striking one of them with a bat several times, and it had absolutely no effect. And then later on in the episode, you see Mulder and Scully battling the Peacock brothers, and Scully fires an entire clip into George Peacock, and he still keeps coming. So the idea is that, any of the equipment cards, that you can use to attack during long range combat would have a very little effect on the Peacock brothers. So you got your shotgun, your Walther PPK, or even the upcoming SWAT tactical gear card equipped to your agent. It's not going to be as useful as you would like against the Peacocks. So I thought, that was one of the first ideas I had. And again, the oh so lovely Peacock residence, Home, Pennsylvania.
I see a theme deck coming up.
A theme deck. Oh yeah, once we are playing, you can rest assured the Peacocks will very much have an opportunity to shine should they come up in the course of the game.
Okay, I'm cowboying this conversation here because we are coming up on our 1 hour, and this is a question that everyone who is watching or will watch is wanting to know. And Dax, this is going to come to you. This is the first production set. Stephen, I think, is going to give it just a quick look over, probably off camera, for anything that might need to be repaired. Let's assume he gives the okay. What's the next step? I got to get my hands on this. I've been playing these cards in a black and white form for almost a year now. What is the next step? Is this the final check off, and then we can reach out to you, or what's going on?
Yeah, I think it's there, isn't it, Stephen? I think the set's good. We did this sort of test run to see how long it would take to get from the printers, because it can be dispatched directly from them to the end user, or to the recipient. So we put the order in. It took exactly 3 weeks to arrive on Stephen's door. Shipping to addresses in the US isn't a problem, but the pricing is each state seems to have a slightly different sales tax, and I don't understand any of it, and I don't need to. But to give you a rough idea, the sets are going to cost around £60. I'm not sure what that is in dollars at the moment. But it's give or take £60, depending on your sales tax and what have you. And if people want to message me through the group, we can go ahead and get sets out to them. But that's it. That's the price, and that's the time frame you're looking at.
Hey, if that sales tax is more for some states, for people who want cards, and you want to funnel them through the state of Oregon, which has no sales tax, let me know.
There it is. It used to be a great scam for Washington residents to drive down to Oregon to buy cars and boats and stuff to avoid the sales tax. I think they closed that loophole a while back.
Yeah, they closed that loophole, but we can still drive up to Vancouver and get fireworks. That's pretty great, because you can't have fireworks in Oregon. And if you use your Oregon ID in Washington State, you can basically buy goods and services without paying their sales tax, which is nice. But yeah, it got a little hairy there for a while.
That has to be actually one of my biggest bugbears on going to the States, is that the price isn't actually the price. The price is the price plus, over here, the price is the price. Yeah. And any taxes and whatnot are already included in the price.
Yep.
But it is what it is. But,
yeah, that's the way. Yeah, that's the way it is in Oregon too, man. We don't have a sales tax, so. But then again, I don't think, David, you don't have an income tax though, do you?
Correct, we do not.
Yeah, so that's the give and take. Is we have an income tax and no sales tax, and he has a sales tax but no income tax. So they sort of balance out. It's weird though.
It is weird.
It is weird. I'm not gonna. Yeah, it's a whole civics class to get through that. I think we're looking at promos now.
Yes, these two are the Mulder and Scully promos, which, again, as I previously stated, same exact text as the commercial release versions. And this final promo, I want to give a special shout out to Kevin Marion. I think he is watching. Kevin, if you are, I want to thank you sincerely for giving me the thumbs up to use the text and the skills for the Agent Doggett promo card. And the reason for including Agent Doggett in this set, because it's obviously season 4 and Doggett doesn't come into the 8th season. The idea for the code for this expansion 040460 is Agent Doggett's birthday. And so that was the reason for including him in there. Also 0404 is my birthday. So I've shared that with Agent Doggett. And, although not the same year, obviously, but for that reason, that's why I wanted to assign that code number to this expansion. And so, therefore, if I'm going to use Agent Doggett's birthday, then I need a card in here, not necessarily part of the main 175, but certainly a promo card. And because Kevin Marion had previously offered this card as a promo, although the image is different, everything else on here is exactly as the promotional card that Kevin did for a contest many years back. So again, Kevin, thank you so much for letting me borrow the text and effect to bring this wonderful card to this expansion. It's a nice bookend to it.
Now you just need to get it signed.
Has everyone seen Kevin's original one?
I mean, I have. I believe all 4 of us here certainly are aware of it. If you're not, you can check it out at the Facebook group, or you can just look at Dax's.
There you go. That's Kevin's original card from back in the day.
There it is. Beautiful card. I love the image on there. The passport graphic is very cool. So, Kevin, that was and the effect is just spot on. It is very faithful to the character. I loved it. I thought long and hard about trying to do like a effect for Doggett, and no matter what I could come up with, it still just paled in comparison to the effect that Kevin had conceived for that card. And so I finally just reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, I'd really love to use this effect as for an Agent Doggett card," and so he granted me the the freedom to use that for this expansion. So again, my hat's off to you, Kevin. Thank you so much. And finally, the very last card in this in this expansion that you guys are going to get. Well, let me just put my screen right back up here. Mike, maybe you would like to speak to this.
Oh, what is that? Oh,
what?
yeah.
What?
Yeah. So yeah, that's
What
coming
is that
soon.
all about?
Yeah. So
Coming soon.
there was a movie, wasn't there? I think there was.
Yeah. I think they're gonna show it at File Fest in September. Is that right?
Yeah. I think it's Friday night. They're showing the movie. So yeah.
I'm so there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Wow.
this on the backside of that, this last card that is promoting the eventual release of the Fight the Future expansion. We also have a coming soon promotional for the next expansion following the season 4 expansion, which is the unofficial 112263 season 5 expansion.
How'd you get the alien bounty hunter's birthday?
That one took a lot of digging. I really had to follow through those episodes. if anyone, I'm sure someone will maybe post in the comments or later on, but if anyone has an idea what 112263 refers to, maybe we'll get a free card shipped out to them at my expense for figuring out how obviously it refers to obviously 112263 is John Kennedy's assassination the same day, but how though does it pertain to the X-Files, that particular date? Not referring to Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man, which covered Kennedy's assassination, but how else?
Stephen.
No more than that. No more than that.
Somebody mute this guy. He's talking too much.
No, I just didn't want to tell him. Yeah, I just wanted to give him a little bit of a breadcrumb to figure out. I'm sure some of them will within like a matter of moments. So, gentlemen, that is the entire set. As I said, I will look it over more closely, but at this point, I'd say it's good to go. So yeah, I turn it to Dax, to work on getting those orders out to anyone who's interested. So thank you, and thank you so much for spearheading that too, Dax. If there's any errors in there, there's going to be errors in there because we've reprinted these so many times now. I'm totally sick of the sight of them. I just want to. I don't want to have to edit these cards ever again. I think they're good to go. I agree, but I will certainly let you know if I spot any flaws with them. But I wanted to do this episode.
Yeah, I'll block you. I'll block you.
You'll block me. Yeah, well deserved. But I wanted to do this live episode for any of you who are watching who want to get a copy of this set to have at home. If you want to have a printed set so you can use to play with your commercial release cards. So yes, by all means, please, if you're in the Facebook group, just reach out to Dax. He's been a very gracious gentleman, throughout this whole process, and he will work with you to ensure that you get. And Mike, if should you want to try to bypass some sales, tax issues there, Mike can certainly help you out with that. So. It's just after 3. I know
if your sales tax in the state that you're in ends up being more than $12, get a hold of me because I can do a flat rate insured tracked box from Oregon for $11.95 to anywhere in the States. So if it's more than $12, let Dax know. He'll just send it to me. I'll get it over to you.
Cool.
That's great. Excellent. So is that the official word? Floodgates are open, Dax?
Yeah,
let him do a post on the Facebook group.
I've literally got nothing else going on in my life. Literally nothing else.
Nothing else? You're not making any plans for anything?
We do have one last question for Joost, Dax. If you want to address it, is the Funko Pop backside mandatory?
It is.
So buy your card sleeves now.
Yes, get your card sleeves for these.
That's the problem. We tried. I can remember waking up one morning having put in an order for some for a bunch of custom cards for myself, and the email just says, this is a copyrighted image, and we're not printing it. And it was, as I said earlier, it was all around the same time they stopped doing Star Wars and Star Trek stuff. And so the compromise we've managed to get is that they'll print it because this is an image that's kind of inspired by the original, but it's as close as we can get without trying to spend God knows how much time just completely photoshopping it. Easiest thing to do was just to pop that over the top, and it makes an acceptable image. So that's how the cards will come. But stick them in some sleeves and then you can't see them.
I think that should be a promo card because I remember that day on Facebook when you posted the card that said they're shutting us down, Scully.
Oh man, I was
I
love that.
That should be a promo card right there, man. For the
I
memory of the day that Dax got super sad.
I was absolutely gutted by that when I got that message, but
I think I would almost in tears when I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
We've already run over time, but there's one last question. And Dax, this is to you before we lose you. Did you ship the expansion to anyone in EU?
This one, no, not yet. So we've done one. On this particular one, we've done one print order, really, just to see timings and cost, to get that nailed down. It'll go into Europe. I have no idea. It's really going to be a case by case basis. I can't believe that the shipping cost is going to be that much more getting it into Europe. But if people want to know exactly how much it'll be, just drop me a message. I can set up a dummy order with all their information on it.
Ooh.
And hello, Mike. And I can tell them exactly how much it'll be. But yeah, into Europe's fine. I've just done the order for the other expansion, the 22364. That are going to come to me, and then I'm forwarding them onto UK addresses, sending stuff out from the UK into Europe or anywhere overseas. It's an absolute nightmare at the moment from the UK because of problems with the Royal Mail, which is why any orders have got to go direct from the printers, because I can have them sent here, and then God knows when they're going to arrive. I think that kind of just about covers it. So yes, you can have them sent into the EU. I'll give you an exact price on the shipping, and yeah.
Outstanding. Well, gentlemen, with that teaser for season 5 in Blackwood, I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah. Get back to work on it too. I've got a few more I need to write for season 5, and then maybe we can start playtesting from that point. But we also need to do some playtesting for the Blackwood expansion. Mike, whenever you and Dax are ready to roll that out. You got me, you got David Peace, you got Nathan, you've got 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬. We're all behind you guys. We're ready to play test that whenever you guys want us to start doing that. But obviously, Mike, you should be spearheading this.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I just like you, we had some really unique ideas that we came up. I'm sure everybody's seen Vending Machine Bomb, just stuff like that. It was like, okay, how do we take the game and just kind of twist the knife a little bit? We don't want to murder the game. We just want to tweak it just a little bit, see how much we can get away with. And as you all know, probably from my channel, I like to push the boundaries and push the envelope. So that's what we've done with the set. We're really proud of it.
So that there, gentlemen, is what we have to look forward to. So I do want to thank everyone who was tuning in to watch. Of course, this will be up on the channel for you guys to watch, in case you missed the live stream. I'll sign this off so Dax can get to bed at a relatively decent hour. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for availing a little bit of your Sunday to be here to showcase this big event in the course of this project I've been working on for the past year. Means a lot to me, and here's to some more great expansions to come. So with that, I'll sign us off. So again, thank you all for watching, and be sure to tune in next time for the next exciting edition of Alien Investigations.
Yay!